Hello everybody, Game of the Century here with an all new video. And today, it's the start of a brand new series on my channel, Andrew's Dugout. Yes, my name is Andrew, by the way. So, this series is a baseball talk show series on my channel. I love baseball so much that I thought that I could put it into a series for you guys to listen and just kind of think about when you're watching this. So, episode 1 is late season standings, because in baseball right now, in middle August, baseball season is coming to a close. I mean, we still have the rest of August and all of September left, but really that's not that many games. About 50, 60 games left for every team. So, I'm going to try to do a video every week about that previous week on baseball. So, on this week's episode, I'm going to tell you the standings from the previous week in baseball, show team schedules, show teams' weaknesses and strengths, and share my opinions about new trades, lineups, pitching rotations, and more from the trade deadline. So first, in MLB, with the standings, we have the AL East, or the American League East. And right now the Yankees are ahead by half a game to the Blue Jays. Now, luckily, the Yankees, as we're going to see pretty shortly about their schedule, that they fought off the Blue Jays pretty well, who have one of the strongest lineups in the American League. A very nice lineup when they got Troy Tulowitzki from the trade when he came in from Colorado. And they also got Troy Hawkins, a relief pitcher, from the Rockies as well. So, the Orioles are trailing behind by 4, Rays down by 6.5, and Red Sox, who have been having a pretty bad season, are down 12.5. I don't know if they're going to be catching up anytime soon, honestly. So, now let's take a look at the Yankees' schedule. Now, the Yankees' schedule, they played the Indians and lost 2 of those games, which put them behind the Blue Jays when the Blue Jays won against the Athletics. They swept them in that series, I think. Yeah. Because I only put the previous week when they started on Tuesday. I don't think they played Oakland that other game. But going back to the Yankees, this series against the Blue Jays was important. That win against the Indians and these 2 wins against the Blue Jays put them ahead and by about 1.5 games. And then they did lose to the Blue Jays on Sunday, which only put them ahead half a game. These are the standings currently for August 17th. And this is the Blue Jays schedule. So we take a look at the Blue Jays schedule. They did sweep the Athletics, which is a big thing for them, to pretty much put them ahead of the Yankees. But then losing these 2 to the Yankees also did put them behind. Now the Yankees are up, as I said, half a game. Now the Blue Jays have a pretty easy opponent for them, the Phillies, who have the worst record in baseball. And the Phillies really just have not started going. They've just kind of kept behind everybody else, really haven't started going. Now the Blue Jays are a team that are really strong on their hitting. They have the 4 main guys in their lineup. So the lineups for the previous week, for 4 games, I looked at the lineups and I saw who they had. Now, one thing that they do, they have a catcher this day, and they have a different catcher this day. Now, because catchers get tired pretty easily, because squatting down takes a lot of energy from them, and it's hard, especially with matchups. They like to sit catchers a lot, especially on Sundays. So, when they won, they had a different lineup, probably because Chavez, the pitcher for Oakland, is a righty. And since Tulowitzki's a righty, they'd rather have Ben Revere, who came from the Phillies. They'd rather have him go against the righty, which is a better matchup than Tulowitzki against the righty. Tulowitzki actually sat that day, as you can see. I believe his name is Ryan Goins, came in to substitute for him. And then this day against Tanaka, this is the lineup that they had. Now, Tanaka pitched a complete game against them, only giving up a run, which is really good against this hard-hitting lineup. The way that they are hard-hitting is because Tulowitzki is a big bat. He can hit high averages, he can hit a lot of home runs, and drive a lot of runs in. Josh Donaldson, their third baseman, has about 30 home runs this year already and about 90 RBIs. Bautista is a big slugger, and we've known that for the previous years, that he's hit many home runs, and Encarnacion is basically the same. And yes, these two don't hit for high averages, but they hit for power, swinging for the fences a lot. So now that we're done talking about the high teams in the AL East, let's move on to the AL Central. Now the AL Central, I don't have much to talk about with these guys. I'm not the biggest follower in the AL Central, but really I know that the Royals can just pull ahead this year and maybe win the World Series this year, because they got beaten by the Giants last year in Game 7 when Madison Bumgarner for the Giants, came in and threw 5 shutout innings to save the Giants from winning the World Series against these Royals. Could have won it, guys. Next time. But you can see that most of these teams are 12 games behind, 15 games behind, and the Indians at 16.5 games behind. This division is pretty mediocre because of the 2, 3, 4, and 5 team. The Royals are ahead of many teams in the MLB. So now let's just move on to the AL West. Now the AL West contains of 5 teams instead of 4, because they used to actually only have 4 teams. They had 4 teams for actually a while the NL Central had 6 teams with the Astros in it. But I believe starting in 2012, the Astros moved to the AL West to even out the divisions. The Astros are leading this league by 3.5 games to the Angels, but the Angels are riding very close to them. Actually, so are the Rangers. The Rangers are, as many people, or as everyone doesn't know, are my favorite team. Now, ever since 2013, when they had the wild card, they could have made it, but they didn't, and that really stopped them. And last year was a bad year for them. They finished, I believe, 4th or 5th place, and this season they're close. They're also like 3rd place in the wild card, which is okay. They got to get on a nice winning streak. Luckily, they do have a 4-game winning streak, and hopefully they'll keep on carrying on and cruising, and hopefully they'll get past these Angels. And then we have Astros, which are ahead, have a pretty good record, and they got a player from the Milwaukee Brewers. His name's Carlos Gomez. Now, Carlos Gomez is basically an all-around player, and he's a really good player. Problem is, this season he has not been on. He's a .249 average. Of course, this is as of August 17th. 9 homers, 47 RBIs, and a .309 on-base percentage. Now, his career, he does have 100 homers, but his average has always been pretty low. He also has 391 RBIs and 313 on-base percentage. Blah. But Carlos Gomez went from this hard-hitting slugger, kind of speedy contact hitter, an all-around hitter, to being this Astro, who in his last 10 games has pretty much done nothing. And I didn't include it here, but he has no RBIs in his last 10 games, and he only has 3 hits out of like 40 at-bats. That is really bad. That's like a 180 average for all the games. So he's really got to work on hitting, or else he's not going to help the Astros keep their first place. So, if he can turn it up, then he could really help them, because they do have Jose Altuve, and they have Jason Castro, and they have some other really good hitters. But they do need Carlos Gomez to step it up for them to help. Alright, moving on to the National League. The National League East is what we'll be talking about next. And there's a very close matchup. Well, kind of close, but between the Mets and the Nationals. Now, actually, the Mets have been riding behind the Nationals for about half the year. Mets did not have a good lineup, with David Wright out on an injury, I believe, of 60 ADL, the Mets had a hard time until the trade deadline came and they acquired a player, Yoenis Cespedes, from the Detroit Tigers. He's a great hitter. He has about 25 homers, about 80 RBIs, and a really nice average. And he's helped the Mets ever since he came over, and he's hit homers, drove in runs, got hits. What a top player's got to do, an asset's got to do that. Now, the Mets have been on a 3-game losing streak, but the Nationals have been on a 6-game losing streak. Ever since about the beginning of August, they have slowed down and let the Mets just carry ahead of them. So now they're down 4.5 games. So let's take a look at each of their schedules and compare them a little bit. The Mets, they swept the Rockies in the 4-game series, but they also got swept by the Pirates, who have been doing really well. But in the Nationals, they beat the Dodgers. Then they lost 5-0 to the Dodgers, 3-0 to the Dodgers, and got swept by the Giants, which was really bad because then the Mets get the advantage to take ahead. So if the Mets can beat the Orioles and sweep them, they'll be up even higher unless the Washington Nationals, unless they can come ahead and sweep the Rockies just like the Mets did. So that's going to be a close matchup, and next week I will tell you about what's going on in this matchup, and I'll catch you up on who's winning and how the standings are looking. And we'll talk about them next time. But now we'll move on to the NL Central, I believe. Yep. So the NL Central is almost like the AL Central to me. I'm not really good with the Centrals. I don't pay so much attention to the standings for them because I don't have any favorite teams in here or anything. But the NL Central, the Cardinals are ahead by 5 games, but the Pirates could be catching up. They've won 4 games in a row, and they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. Cardinals are 7-3 in their last 10, and they lost a game in a row, which that's a pretty small losing streak, if you tell me. Now the Cardinals are up ahead 5 games, but if the Pirates keep up of what they've been doing, they can easily get ahead of these Cardinals. And the Cardinals do have the best record, I believe. Let's just check. Give me 1 second to find the Royals. Let's see. Yeah, the Cardinals do have the best record. Royals are 71-46, and the Cardinals are 75-42, which is crazy. Cardinals have been doing really well this year. Now let's move on to our final standings of the day, and that will be the NL West. The NL West has Dodgers ahead, and the Giants behind by 2.5 games, and then there's the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the Rockies. Rockies have not been doing well at all. But the Dodgers and the Giants both have a 3-game winning streak and a 4-game winning streak. Well, the Giants had the 4-game, Dodgers 3-game. They actually have both been 5-5 in their last 10. And the Giants are down 2.5, and the Dodgers are up 2.5. But I have a pitching comparison to see who I think can help their team carry ahead to either get ahead or stay ahead. So these are the 2 starting number 1 pitchers for the Giants and the Dodgers. So the Giants, we have Madison Bumgarner, and for the Dodgers, we have Clayton Kershaw. Now, Madison Bumgarner's next start is against Pittsburgh on August 21st. And for Kershaw, his next start is at Oakland on the 18th of August. So these are the last 3 starts for each of the pitchers and their season stats. First, I'm going to talk about the season stats. Honestly, I think Kershaw has better numbers. Yes, most people look at Bumgarner's win-loss and say, oh yeah, Bumgarner's a better pitcher than Kershaw. Really, it doesn't matter about wins and losses. Yes, Bumgarner has 14 and Kershaw has 10. I can clearly see that. But look at every number, every other stat, other than the wins and losses. Take that away. You have Kershaw has a better ERA by about 0.6, He has 30 more strikeouts, about 30 more strikeouts, and he has a .09 better WHIP than Bumgarner. For WHIP and ERA, the lower the better. For wins and strikeouts, the higher the better. And of course, losses, the lower the better. So, I honestly think Kershaw has better numbers this year, just because he has lower stats, and the stats that should be lower. Now, Bumgarner, I mean, he's having a decent season. He's having a pretty good season. But I just think Kershaw's numbers are better, just looking at them. Sorry, buddy. Maybe next time. Kershaw just got the best of you. And then, looking at, for both the pitchers, looking at their last 3 starts, Bumgarner definitely has had a better last 3 starts. Giving up 2 earned runs, 2 runs. Kershaw's given up 4 earned runs, 4 runs. And that one bad start against Pittsburgh, who has been doing really well. And these stats are merged together. Sorry, I just couldn't fit them in the picture that I took. And then, really, I mean, Bumgarner has had 2 complete games in a row. His previous start, he had a shutout, but his other start, he had a really nice complete game. Now you can see that Bumgarner throws about 110 pitches a game. So, I mean, he's a younger pitcher, so, they probably should be giving him a bit of a rest. But, yes, they do need him a lot, and he has had 3 wins in a row, you can see. Here, and his ERA has gone down because of his stats. Now, we look at Kershaw's, and he hasn't had the best last 3 starts. I mean, they have been pretty good, other than this one start against Pittsburgh. But his Washington and LA starts, they were fine. Honestly, they were alright. And he did get 2 wins out of that to be 10-6 with an ERA of 2.39. You can see it was down, then it went up, but then back down, which is good, At least he recovered from that bad start. But this is my opinion and the comparison on Madison Bumgarner and Clayton Kershaw, and how they can help their team, either for Bumgarner go ahead or for Kershaw stay ahead. Well, guys, it's been fun. Been a lot of baseball talking about. Thanks for watching. Of course, leave a like for Josh Hamilton, my dugout buddy, or whatever you call him. I kind of forgot because I got him so long ago. But guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and make sure to smash that like button. Of course, do it for Josh Hamilton. Back on the Rangers, buddy. And guys, hope you enjoyed. As I just said, wow, it's been long. That's probably why it's getting to me. But I will see you next time. Bye.